All right. Hello, everybody. And I'd like to welcome you to the Healthy Living Podcast brought to you by Willow Creek Springs. And I'm Joe Grumbine, and I'll be your host. Today, I have a very special guest, and her name is Claire, and she's from Mexico. And I've known Claire for, 4 or 5 years now. I don't even know. It might even be longer than that. But our paths have intertwined in the realm of healing and medicine and really helping people, helping the planet, prayer, so many things that have to do with healthy living, mind, body, and spirit. So I'm really excited to speak with you, Claire, and hear about your story and the adventures. It's been about 3 years, I think, since I've gone down there to see you, and maybe
Yeah.
going 3.5 years. It's been way too long. And this pandemic really caused a lot of grief, got in the way of a lot of things. But so Claire, why don't you introduce yourself? We met in the craziest way. We were preparing for a meeting at my place, and it was a chaotic experience, and people were supposed to be doing work and they didn't do it, and we weren't ready, and all of a sudden this woman shows up out of nowhere and jumps in and starts working and helping out. And that was just a crazy story. And over the next couple of years, we finally got to spend some time talking together and getting to know each other.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for having me with you tonight. And yeah, my name is Claire Jurachek, and I'm originally born in France, and I've been living in Mexico for 31 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, I like to travel and like to know people and to learn from people. And yeah, we met in quite a magical way, right? And I remember this whole day, this crazy day that I was flying from France to Mexico, and I stopped in California at your place because my spiritual teacher told me, please come and help. We need to pray in this land with these amazing people that are helping so many other people. So I said, okay, let's go. And it was amazing. Yes, it was a rough day, but like we said, the more you give, the more you get, you know. So when I see it backwards, I'm so happy that it was such a hard day, because this is the base of our friendship now, and it's solid, because I could go there and do my best, and yeah, the best I knew I did for you and all your people, and then you did the best you knew for me. And this is how I'm here today, because thanks to you and your generosity, I can make my own medicine in Mexico, and I can help a lot of people. So thank you.
Well, that's exciting. I remember, the spiritual teacher that you're talking about, who recently passed, and, we're both still mourning. But I remember him telling me about you and how important it was that I met you, and you were a medicine maker down in Mexico, and you knew so many plants and so many formulas. And the thing that's so great about medicine people, and I'll just put quotes around it because everybody's a medicine person. If you really, all you have to do is want to help anybody and want to smile or give somebody a hug, and you're a medicine person. But when somebody dedicates their time to learning plants and, how to prepare formulas that can help people, there's an unlimited amount of knowledge. Like, you could never know it all. And, I've studied for 35 years, and I've learned bits and pieces from all over the world. And then when I found out that you were down in Mexico, I'd never really studied Mexican plants. So I was like, oh, cool, I get to learn something new, and that was right away the a thing that enticed me to want to, come down there and visit and see some of the local, plants and formulas and people and all of that. So, France and Mexico, boy, what a two different worlds. And I've been to your place in Mexico, and it's a magical place. You can't even describe it. Like when somebody told me, oh, it's a cloud forest, you're like, huh, what does that mean? And then you
Yeah.
get there and you're like, whoa, it's just this beautiful, like you don't think you might be in Ireland or someplace where it's just so green and just
And
clean.
misty.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and misty, and yeah. And so yeah, I live in a land with a lot of water, and the water helps us all the time, you know. And when I travel around and I'm in the desert, or I'm in really, really dry places, I always like breathe and remember my home, and I'm happy because I can feel the mist and I can feel the water flowing. And this is how I think uh, this is my way to flow through life, you know.
Mhm.
And yeah, just like you said, like we can share our love just with a hug or a smile or a nice word to the people we meet every day. And we can do like small little things to be happy inside so we can share it. Like in the morning, I won't get up from my bed unless I have a big smile on my face. And
That's
then I
great.
get up, and then I can share something nice.
Imagine
And
if everybody did that. We'd probably live in a better world.
yes, and always trying to find the goodness and the bright in every people you meet. It's so much easier to criticize and to see the bad side and the harm side of everyone, because we all have sufferings inside, right? But it's a nice exercise to focus and in saying a good word, giving a good smile, a nice hug, and all this every day, because we need to work about ourselves so we can share good things to the world and change the energy. It's not just like um, processing medicines and plants and all this. It's like really puts a good intention in them. Then you can make a difference, because
Absolutely.
it's not just a lab where you're manufacturing some stuff, you know.
Right.
It's like
No.
really every drop I'm gonna mix, it's gonna have a smile, and it's gonna have an unconditional love and a lot of good stuff inside, like for the people that are going to take these drops. So yeah.
What's interesting is they've done actual studies that say when somebody is smiling on the phone and the other person can't even see them, that they can tell. Like there's something about the way your voice travels, the sound, it's all electricity, right? It's all
Mhm.
sound waves. It's the same stuff magic is, right? A prayer, a song, it's all sound waves. It's all the same thing, right? But if you're yelling at somebody and you're angry, or you're smiling and you're saying something nice, those sound waves travel differently. I've studied a little bit this guy, a Japanese scientist who took photographs of water crystals
Yeah.
under Emoto is his name, and it changed my life when I saw that under different sounds and under different words and under different emotions, that water crystals actually change their structure. So when you talk about water, how powerful everything we do, and if you're making a formula, you're making a cure for somebody or something that might help them, and you're sitting there thinking while you're mixing it something good, or saying a prayer, or smiling, or just thinking I love you, and that's it. And you're doing that while you're mixing that, you're literally putting that into your formula,
Yeah.
as opposed to, oh God, I got to get out of here. This thing, I'm too big. Imagine what that goes into it, right? It's just couldn't be the same.
Yeah, and it's completely like proved that if you would hold a glass of water and things and have really nice thinking about some sick people, and then you would share this glass of water with them, you can heal them just
Mhm.
by putting your nice intention and love and thought of healing for them. So that's the healthy living you're talking about, right? That
Absolutely.
we need to do good things all the time and have a nice way of sharing and do our own insight healthy living, because this is the only way we can have something nice to share.
So everybody kind of has their story about, the first time that they thought to um, help somebody or help themselves by something they made or something they did, whether, I don't know, everybody gets this moment. Like for me, it had to do with my lung condition I had since I was a child, and I didn't like the medicine that they kept giving me. So I just decided I was going to learn something else. And I studied for the purpose of getting away from that. But first of all, how old were you when you decided at one point, whether it was maybe one time or maybe it was, this is going to be my life or whatever, when you got the notion to make something to help somebody, whether it was yourself or anybody?
That's a really nice question. Thank you. So, well, I think it's far, far behind, because both my parents are doctors, like regular, really, really scientists, doctors. And so I was grown up in this kind of home and family, and I really wanted to help all the time. And when I was a kid, I would go with my father. When I was like 8 years old, I would go to the hospital and follow him around so I could be with him, because I was missing him. I wanted to be. I was seeing all he did to help people. I wanted to be the same way. And then when I was old enough to decide what I was going to study, and I said I want to be a doctor, and he said, "No ways, that's too hard for you." And I said, "Okay." So I went to travel all around the world, and I got to know so many tribes and so many ways of healing, like all stuff, and I
Well,
could
let
see
me
how
stop
it
you for a
works.
second, because we just made a giant leap from you can't be a doctor to I just traveled around the whole world. Like, how did that even happen?
Yeah, well, I said, okay, so I want to go in the university and study this, and instead of that, I decided to be a camerographer, and I
Oh,
studied like communication and video makings, and I would go and make some documentaries
got it.
and travel in Africa and travel in India and finally got to Mexico. But that's kind of in another session we could talk about the travelings, because
Sure.
it's really interesting, and I think it's the best school in the world,
All right.
just to travel around and meet some everybody's interesting. Every human being has something to teach you
Mhm.
everywhere, you know and so yeah, so that was the gap, and then I got lost. Can you help me again?
Well, no, I cut you off because you were telling me how you were meeting these different people from different tribes, and you were
Right.
learning medicine as you were traveling.
Yes. And then yeah, because your first question was about what was like the trigger,
Right.
you know and so yeah, so I would learn all kind of different stuff for different people in different parts of the world. And then when I got to Mexico and I decided to stay there because I really fell in love with the country and the people and everything there, I began to study all these plants, all these herbs and medicine and sweat lodges and all these ancient traditions from Mexico that I really, really like because they worked on me. It was a personal experience for me. And then I had my beautiful daughter, and when she was young, she began to have anxiety crises, like small ones and different ones. And then, so I wanted to help her. And then I began to mix plants about anxiety to help her. And then it got like some other people wanted the same kind of help. And then you helped me with your stuff, and then I could mix your stuff with my stuff. And so I could improve. And yeah, that's basically how it happened. And then I could help her for many, many years. And now she decided to go another way, but that's fine because a lot of people, especially with the time we are living now,
Right.
need to calm down big time.
There's a
So
lot
anything
going
we
on right
can,
now.
yeah, anything we can do to help people to calm down and be happier and tranquil, I think it's fantastic.
No, I think you're right. So it's
Mhm.
interesting. We have a kind of a similar experience. My father is a surgeon, and I didn't travel around the world. I just traveled around the world by reading books. And but the same kind of thing where I found something that worked for me. And then all the neighbors, that come and visit me, they saw I was making these things sitting in the window and in the kitchen, and they started asking. Next thing I was making stuff for everybody. And when you find out that something works, I think that's where it kind of changes you. Like, something that you didn't know before, right? And you can't unknow something. Like once you know something could help you, then that's it. You can't ever go back to not knowing those things. So I think, it's interesting, like with your daughter, she demonstrates, that there's always more than one road to get to a solution. Sometimes you need a gentle solution, and sometimes you need a more aggressive solution. And then hopefully, she'll find her way back to a more gentle solution. But, at least to know that there are more than one way to solve problems, and people don't have to go to these crazy extremes of getting themselves all numb on drugs and alcohol and bad habits and destruction and all the things that people do when they can't seem to figure theirselves out. There's often, better
Yeah,
answers.
but still, I really respect every path that every human being needs to go through.
Mhm.
It's all about emotion. And if we are here in this life, on this earth, in this moment, we all need to go through the same emotions, basically. So I need to go through fear, and I will have a live representation of the fear for me, and you're gonna get another one, and the next one is gonna get another one, but still
Sure.
we need to go through, So
All
I
the
think
lessons.
everyone has to be respected for whatever he needs to go through. And yeah, and we can do our best to make something with a good intention, so this go through can be a little bit easier for everyone.
Absolutely. I think sometimes, people forget that the struggle is the path sometimes.
Yeah.
The life, your whole life is a struggle. It's just for the second
Mhm.
you're born till you take your last breath, you're struggling. You're struggling to eat, to breathe, to keep yourself warm, to keep companionship. You're always struggling everything, right? Even if you're rich and have everything in the world, then you're afraid of everybody taking it away. I mean, there's always a struggle. And
Yeah.
so, like you're saying, we go through these different struggles that you overcome one lesson, and then seems like there's an endless amount of lessons, like they just keep coming one behind the next.
Absolutely. And I think that the main thing we need to share and we need to understand is that there's always help waiting for us, and we need to ask for it.
I
You know,
agree.
it's not the same if we are going to make all this medicine we do and we are going to make it in a very nice way, the best we know, and putting good intention and all what we just talked about, and then we think these people or this particular sick person needs some help and I want to give it to him, right, or to her, and that's not going to work, because we need to be really, really gentle so we can open this like portal or door of allowing people to ask for help.
Yeah, that's a rough one. Sometimes when you know somebody needs help, but they, are afraid or prideful or scared or whatever's keeping them. A lot of people don't want to ask for help. And it's hard because you want to help them. And yet sometimes, you have to hold back until they do. Well, listen, Claire, we're running to the end of this first episode, and I knew it was going to go really quickly. But I think this is a good place to break it off. And I want you to kind of share with anybody, like we're gonna record more episodes, and we're gonna learn a lot about each other and the work we're doing and the story we have, which is kind of our whole life is just a big story, right?
Yeah.
And then you share your story with other people and all of that. But one of the things that I'm hoping is that I know you're preparing to make yourself a little more available to people who want to come in contact and experience the medicine that you provide and the healing that you have. And I don't want it to sound anything other than it's an experience, for somebody to meet you is that experience. And I really want this platform to be like a switchboard where if somebody is listening to this and they go, oh my God, I need to meet that person, that there's some way that they can do that. So I'm going to let you kind of tell us if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and they thought they felt that, listening to you, for some reason, they needed to have a conversation with you. How would they do that?
Okay, so yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And yeah, so I'm available through my mail, and this would be claire.metta, METTA, on gmail.com. So that you can write me and I would answer you about any questions.
Well, let me
And
spell that out just to be really clear. CLAIRE.METTA@gmail.com.
absolutely. And then we can be in touch. And I want to share with you, I have an Instagram too, and that's Del Sol Medicina .gmail.com too. That's the Instagram of the medicine I do. And yeah, and that's basically it. And then there's this portal, then I have this link inside, and the name is Hola Gala, and that's HOLAJALA.com. Okay. And yeah, so just please contact me, and then I'm traveling everywhere, and we can speak together on Zoom or Skype or whatever, and please contact me through the mail.
Excellent. Well, thank you so
Okay.
much, Claire. It's been an absolute pleasure. This has been another episode of Healthy Living brought to you by Willow Creek Springs, and we will see you next time.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I'm going to end this now, and then I'm going to turn the Zoom back on. And so you're going to log out, and then you're going to just pop right back into the same Zoom.
Okay.
And then we'll get talking again.